Yo, we are back. Welcome to the Uninvited podcast, where we talk about things that get you uninvited to your next dinner party, man. Listen, it's been a while, and we're finally back. And with us from all the way from Orlando, Florida, we got with us Pastor Bartholomew L. John from Life Renewal Gospel Ministries. It's a pleasure to have you. We all know him as Uncle Bart, but but listen, we gotta respect the office. It's Pastor John that we be talking about. We're so happy to have you here. We look forward to delving into some really good conversation on politics. Right, and with us we have our usual suspect as well, guys. We have Dwayne, main man Matt, Ricky in the building,
what's up?
Tande in the background.
Yes, yes.
All right, so and of course this beautiful studio, Faku the producer, that's out here orchestrating all this for us, man. Listen, we're gonna get right into it. It's been a minute, so we're gonna go wherever wherever this conversation goes. That's where we'll go. But listen, politics, a lot of things has happened. Trump is president.
As he should be.
A lot of people are mad. A lot of things are taking place, right? But I like to open the floor with this, right? How involved should church get in politics? And I like to lean on you on that one to kind of start us off in that. You know what I mean?
And that's a good question because the church, there are three schools of thoughts, right? One says that we're not involved in politics at all because church is separate from government. There's some that believe, well, God is involved with the government and God uses us as his instrument to achieve his goal. The church should be involved in making the choice, like the Bible says that we cast the die and God determines the outcome. But the mistake not voting at all because you're a Christian, I don't think that's biblical. Because God has always been involved with the government. Yes, always involved.
Yo, that's interesting because a lot of people feel so different about that, right? And saying the church, because the church is separate, quote unquote, separate from the state, and because we should be set apart, that we shouldn't. I mean, granted, I do not agree with this, right? But at the same time, it's a topic that you'd be surprised how much people fight about it.
Well,
right?
Yeah, but we're not really separate because once we leave that church building on Sundays, we go to school, we go to work, we send our children to the school, and we so in order to have any influence on that, it's not just praying because God, he set up the governments. He sets governments up in such a way, in this particular government, we're allowed to vote. So if by doing that, I can withhold evil, or I can hold back evil if I believe that it's evil based on the scriptures. If I believe that it's evil and I can use my vote to do that, then it's our responsibility to do that. Yeah.
So then let me just throw this at you because the narrative, the overhead narrative that's been put out, right, is women's rights, right? Okay. So now when you're talking about, and the reason why I say that's been the topic of discussion, a woman should be able to decide what she does with her body. And the conservative church and the Bible Belt church and the evangelicals, right, feel strongly about the fact that, no, you don't get to kill babies, right? But a woman says, hey, I should be able, God doesn't, although he gives us choices, right, and says, hey, choose this or choose that, he doesn't overwhelm our decisions to be able to do what we need to do, even if that might be bad sometimes, right? Okay. So a person should have the ability to decide, not another man, right? So that, from what I saw in politics, that was the biggest headline of, listen, women's rights, women's rights, women's rights, right? And I feel like while that's ultra important, right, I'm not sure yet what I feel about that 100%, to be honest, right? But it's the headline of what's been going on. So if we're saying your church is separate, what is your opinion? What is your guys' thoughts about women's rights when it comes to having the ability to decide what they do with their bodies.
Yeah, we're just gonna go into this 3 minutes into the podcast.
Hey, we might as well go because I'm trying to like, you know what I mean? Because we we're separate and all that stuff, but at the same time, I just want to point out the headlines.
Right.
That's me.
Yeah. You're not only uninvited, you're gonna get kicked out.
Yeah.
You're gonna get kicked out.
Does anybody want to do this before I do?
I'll take a pull at it. I mean, it's something that, like you said, everybody is thinking about it right now. Thought about it during the election, especially that and immigration, of course. And for me, it came down to, I do believe that people have a choice, right? God gives us choice. That was his decision to do that. He decided that it was important that human beings have a choice as far as choosing between good and evil, right? But I think one of the things, before I even go into what I think about this, I'd have to define something, right? So we have a lot of, especially recently in this society, America specifically, we have a way of naming things in a weird way. We're passing bills about lowering our inflation, and then inflation rises as a result of that bill. And stuff like that. So when we say woman's choice, we're talking about the choice to kill babies, right? And I'm like, okay, yes, you'll always have the choice to kill babies, because if a woman wants to do that, nobody could ever stop her from doing that. She has possession of the baby, right? She can go into wherever she needs to go to. Back in the day, people didn't need to go to a clinic. They would stay at home and use hangers or whatever. And that's something that nobody could stop somebody from doing. But now we're talking about abortion, having a doctor getting involved and all that stuff, and having the choice to do that. In other words, a facility which allows you to do so, quote unquote, in a more safe way, right? So that the mother is not put in as much jeopardy as they would have been, in the medieval times, right? The old times. And for me, it is definitely a question of rights. Okay, and it's about protecting people's rights. So while you're protecting the woman's right to choose, who's fighting for the right of that unborn child? I think about that. I think about the unborn children. I think about how they're not being defended, right? How they are, if we're talking about Americans and this happened in America, we're talking about American citizens, because they would have been born here and been American citizens, and they're dying by the thousands, and nobody's able to actually defend them. And if you're involved in anything like a police officer or a military person, and you know that you've been sworn to defend Americans from any enemy, foreign or domestic, it seems as though you should be concerned about this mercilessly killing Americans without any right to trial or anything like that, just being murdered. So I think for that reason, it ends up being like not really a decision that I need to think too much about. It seems very clear that these lives need to be defended.
Okay, so let me just jump right here. I'm gonna throw it right to you, Matt, because I know Matt's getting ready to go. And I want to hit. Yes. Yep. I'm just gonna throw this little nugget, right? I could say the same thing about the history of this country.
Okay.
Right? Like, this is a history that we don't like to admit, right? But this history was based on blood. So it's weird to me that we decide what we need to put laws on. But yet, so many people are being killed mercilessly, as you said.
Right.
Right? Whose fights for them? Who's fight for the kid that gets judged on the street by the cop? Right? Because he thought he had a gun, a little kid, a 13-year-old. You know what I mean? So, like, yes, I agree. That's why I say I'm a little torn, right? Because on one end, you can say, like, all right, yeah, somebody has to fight for the unborn babies, for real. The reason why I can say that is because, all right, if that was me inside, right, you want to be born. So I could empathize with that, and I could feel that.
I would want an ally.
But at the same time, this country is built off blood.
No, I know that, but of course.
You know what I mean?
My immediate response would be like, injustice anywhere does not mean to have injustice somewhere.
Facts. So it's just weird to me. We decide, and that's why on this particular front, I could understand the woman in that perspective, because we decide what we want to put laws on and what you can't do. But yet, if you're going to take one issue, then you got to tackle all the rest of the issues, right?
You do,
If
but
you're
one
talking
at a
about-
time, though.
If you're talking about fairness, he said one at a time.
One at a time. You got
Yo.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying because we know of another injustice, it doesn't mean that if something is in front of you, like I'm not going to judge this one because I know there's others out there that are not being settled.
Well, right, but we want to make sure that we're not hypocritical.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Oh no,
Of course not.
we're already there. We're very hypocritical when it comes
No,
to
no, but
Hold on. Pastor Bart, what's your take on this? I want to get your take before because we're going to get down a whole.
We will. But you see, let's talk about the rights. God has given man the freedom of choice, right?
Right.
To choose. But every time man makes a choice, there are consequences with the choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But in that case, that woman's right to choose to destroy or whatever you call it, right? A baby. That's her right. She could do that. Women have done that, she said, down the ages. The fact is that government is now playing a role in saying, I'm going to protect you for exercising that right. Whereas the government in Romans 13 was established to prevent those kind of acts. Government was there to promote the good and to prevent the bad. So if a government institute says, well, I am going to protect you for destroying what we call a baby, the government institute is now going to protect a man for killing another man. It's my right to kill a man who slept with my wife. It's my right. Right?
Right.
But the law said I cannot do it. So how come can this woman has the right to do what we call sinful, we know, against the law, kill a baby, but no one else has the right to do whatever they feel like with their own body? I can poison myself. I could. I mean, of course, I'll die. It's my right to die. But certain things I can't do. I can't burn my house down. It's my right to burn my house down. I'll be arrested for arson, right? It's my right.
So you're saying, where do we draw the line, right?
And I think it's convenience. It's political.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Keep going.
It's political because, you see, certain issues, the government realize if they promote that issue, they probably get some votes. It's all about voting. And they're not being honest with themselves. They're not being honest. That was an issue that in 2022 prevented a landslide. I mean, the red wave. And they realized that, man, that's the issue. Women are concerned about abortion. And women said, no, we're not concerned about abortion alone. We got to eat. We got family to feed. And so it was just a political issue. But the government should not be the one promoting death when they are instituted to preserve life. That's my take on it.
Matt, go ahead.
I'll say this, that, going back to the choice, God doesn't take away your choice, but he gave us a good enough reason to choose life. He gave his only begotten son. So when I think about what is the role of Christian, regardless of what government is going to do, my take is that I believe that Christians should do or give that person a good reason to choose life, to choose to carry this child full term. So yeah, am I for it? And it's weird because it's they make it so that you have to choose one or the other, left or right, and it's just like I can't go with neither. Because to me, like, yes, I am for a woman's right to choose. However, when it comes to abortion, I don't always agree with abortion as the solution. The reason why I say I don't always agree with it, because there's also issues of if we know that the child is already, if it's being miscarried, and there's states that are saying, well, certain procedures you cannot do to get the baby out. Sometimes that poses a risk for the mother who's carrying that child. Preeclampsia is a real thing, So like there's certain states that won't allow you to do certain things like DNCs or certain things to help clear out things that will cause infection because of certain laws.
Well, yeah, I heard about that, and I cannot remember the name of the woman who died, but I can't remember the name of the woman who died, but there was some misunderstanding, or at least different stories about what happened. So they're saying that this woman died because she was having a miscarriage, and the doctors weren't going to do, like, they didn't take all of the fetal tissue out, or they weren't going to touch her at all, and she died in the hospital. But then when I hear from the right wing, as far as their story, they're saying that the woman took abortion pills, and she got sick, and then when she went to the hospital, it was already too late.
Yep.
And then that's why she died. So I'm not there. I don't know who said what. But as far as I know, there's not a law in the books anywhere in America that if a woman is having a miscarriage, that they will not take that fetal tissue out. You have to, because if you don't, that person will die. That's not an abortion. You can't abort a dead fetus. So so that, I don't know if that was a ploy for the right. I mean, for the left to try to get votes, or the right could be lying to me. I don't know. I don't trust news much these days.
Right.
I don't know who's who.
And that's the thing, like, because then you also have healthcare workers that are saying, we don't know the full parameters of these laws. And you're hearing that in the news reports as well. And then I'm also hearing news reports of healthcare workers calling their lawyers to see what they can do so that they don't, cause their license to be taken away from them. But I mean, to kind of go back to the Christian role, the thing is, well, what are Christians doing to help people to make the choice that they feel that they should make? What are Christians doing in that sense when it comes to if they are against abortion, and we know that the woman has the right to choose? How do we influence, or what is being done on the Christian side of it to help influence the right decision to be made?
So are you saying they shouldn't be having sex?
I would say that.
Well, no. Well,
I mean, that's what leads to abortion.
Yeah,
right?
that's
well, it's not. Well, not just that, because let's say if you're pregnant, so
You had to have sex to get pregnant.
no. What I'm saying is when you're pregnant. No. What I'm saying is that when you're pregnant,
Okay.
there's still a time frame for
There's
you
still
to
time. That's true.
perform
Yes.
the abortion. So what is being done? Again, the Christian role, the Christian side to help influence to make this decision. Because if I'm under the impression that
is the Christian position? Like, it sounds like there's 5 Christians on the table, right?
Yeah.
And I'm hearing slightly different positions, but
4.5.
No one's really hitting it. 4.5. Nobody's really hitting it on the head.
Working on it.
Me.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, Matt, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's wrong to commit abortion, to have an abortion, or do you think it's okay? Or is it someplace in the middle and more complicated? And
I think that, and that's the thing. I think that I would say this, for the most part, I believe that it's wrong. I do think that there are circumstances where, okay, there are certain decisions, if certain things pose a risk to let's say your spouse, and it's a decision that has to be made. Look, this child cannot be carried.
Latrice Pelletier, she was talking about miscarriages and stuff like that as well, like in the chat. I don't know if you guys see it.
Yeah.
And she's bringing that up. So, I mean, those are all great points. But, like, 99, shout out. But, 99% of the time, right, abortion is just an abortion. Let's keep the side topics out. Let's keep the miscarriages out of it, because these are like cases that are like exceptional and stuff. And I think that's a different conversation, because I think I've heard people who are like super for abortion and super not for abortion kind of meet in the middle on some of those in some of those cases. But let's just talk about the 99% of the time. I had sex, baby's here. I don't want to have this baby. I want to have it. But that's most of the time. Let's talk about that case, exclusively. What's your position on that, Matt?
No, on that position, then I'm like, well, no, that's not.
So you're just speaking to those exceptions and stuff.
Well, yeah, the thing is, you have to speak to those exceptions.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just
right.
But I'm trying to focus on the 99% right now, and that's a different conversation.
Yeah, but if we're focusing on the Christian perspective, isn't he the one that leaves the 1 for the 99? So the thing is,
it depends on the circumstance.
But hold on,
let's
let's look at the abortion. Look what we are discussing. We are discussing a woman's right to destroy a baby, right? Okay, I'll call it abortion. The church's position is that you're taking a life. Thou shalt not kill, right? You're taking a life. Now, in a case if a mom is going to die or the child is going to die, my wife, I'm going to save my wife because she could make more children. But that's not the issue we're discussing it. I'm going to have a good time. I know if I get pregnant, no big deal. I'm not responsible. I'm just going to just destroy it. And the church, what I know, based on the scriptures I'm reading, God does not support that. It's a sin. You're killing a baby. We should be teaching young girls, because there is no accidental pregnancy, It doesn't just happen. You have to be engaged. And there was a time when women were very careful about getting pregnant because they know they could not just destroy the baby. But now the young women said, it doesn't matter. Let me go destroy it. And the church is condoning this because the church doesn't want to tell the young people abstinence and stuff like that. We don't want to preach it because they're not going to come to the church. So the church has lost its influence in the society, and society is influencing the church.
And it's not really, it's not even influence.
That's great. No, those are great points, because we're gonna go deep on this one.
It's not so much just an influential thing, because the church's message hasn't changed in thousands of years. They were preaching abstinence for forever. And really, how do you prevent an abortion ultimately is by, not having sex at all. But a lot of times, I guess, in order to get those people into the room, get those people into your churches, and it's also not just telling the women either. You got to tell got to tell the boys too, because a lot of times, because we've all been in those rooms with our uncle, and he was like, hey son, did you get some? You getting some yet?
Well, I was gonna touch on that real quick.
Yeah, it was like, you getting some yet? We got to stop those conversations as well, because children are dying, and if we care that much about children dying, we can't just wag a finger and be like, you must not get an abortion. Work it out for yourself. We have to go back to saying, well, this is how you stop that from happening. So with my children, this is what I tell them. I'm like, listen, I'm telling you not to have kids. I mean, no, I'm not saying that. Don't do that. Not to have kids while you're like a teenager. That's for a person who's married, who like when I'm with your mother, I can be with your mother because I have the resources in order to have the kids and be able to care for them. It's not one of those things where I'm not tied to her and we're just having kids, and when I get tired I can just up and leave and then have her fend for herself. A lot of that is happening, which is the reason why some of the women were so vehement about having abortions be legal, because, well, if I'm if I get pregnant and that guy decides to kind of up and leave and I'm left to my own devices, well, now I have to do this on my own.
This is why this is such a huge conversation and so many different components to it, right? Because I'm hearing you talk, but at the same time, this is an issue of sexuality, right? So we're saying that, you need to not be doing this, but we all are doing this. Like the pews are doing it too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. So what like if we're trying to say, you shouldn't be having sex, but we're the ones having sex with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of weird to be telling the woman then who decides that must have had a situationship with somebody that she didn't really want to or was forced to, then turn around and tell her, no, you're gonna keep this baby. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. It's kind of thin line a little bit. It's a little hard to determine, even though we know the truth, we know that you shall not kill, right? We know that that's the law of the land. But at the same time, there's so many layers to that, right? And my question becomes, is the people that are in the office, in the laws, like we're talking about this right now, there's special cases, and we're talking with good reason, right?
Okay.
But is the people that are making the laws have that reason? Is the law saying, okay, let's see, how did you get pregnant? Like, were you forced, were you raped? Or like is that going to be in play as well? And like, it's good to talk about, oh yeah, you know what? 90% of us would do this, right? You make a baby, like you get a girl pregnant, you keep the baby.
Mm-hmm.
But how did she get pregnant? Was she forced? Was she raped? Was she molested? What happened? Like, is the law gonna look at all those factors?
You know, I was thinking of something when you said that. I don't want to get distracted, but I'm just wondering, like, because I've not been to an abortion clinic, but it seems as though, like, as we're talking about the edge cases, nobody goes to an abortion clinic for the edge case. You see what I'm saying?
Explain a little bit more for our audience.
In other words, if we're talking about for medical reasons and so on, you know, somebody knows, whatever, they believe their child is going to be born with some type of disadvantage, whatever, and stuff. That's usually discovered in a proper medical setting. You know what I mean? It's not at an abortion clinic. Nobody's there testing your baby at an abortion clinic to tell you whether they're going to be born lame or whatever and stuff. So I'm like, if we want to talk about what's happening in the medical sense, then we're not talking about abortion clinics. You know what I mean?
Speak on it. I'm trying to figure out.
In other words, the only reason to go to an abortion clinic is for convenience.
Okay.
Those are the only.
Is that the only reason?
I don't know.
No, wouldn't it be for convenience?
No, because there are people that are in marriages that had abortions.
Again,
It's not
convenience.
so much convenience.
No, but okay, I'm saying out of a choice for lifestyle is what I'm saying. Like, you believe that this will make your life not great to have this child, something like that.
Okay.
It's not because I'm having a medical emergency, is what I'm saying. It's not an emergency type situation. It's more of one. When I say convenience, I'm saying you have, you know, you don't want to be disadvantaged yourself or something. You know, so I was just pointing out, like, I just want to point that. I want to point that out.
It's a very touchy thing too, because we've all been around it, right? There's people that loses kids all the time and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
miscarriages.
Is that what you're saying?
Miscarriages.
Let's make the difference between that. The abortion is the willingness to go do that versus the miscarriages that just happen.
Yeah, that's different.
Right.
That's not. Of course, it doesn't make sense. There's no laws about that. There's no need to, because it just means like Dwayne said, if a mother's life is being put in danger, whatever, they are going to deal with that as it is, because she is now the patient and there is no second patient. You know, usually when a woman is married, pregnant, they have, you have two patients, we gotta save them both. But as long as we know, okay, the child is a stillborn, whatever it is, then the mission is now to save the mother. You know, and so on, because there is no second patient. You just have a foreign matter inside of this woman who's possibly going to cause her to die. So it's not, I don't think those things are issues. I think it does come down to, why do we still have abortion clinics? The only reason to have an abortion clinic is for convenience killing.
Who's talking in the chat?
Retreat said the law precludes even abortions not to be done in the hospital either. So,
well, yeah, you don't go to an abortion to kill people.
To a hospital.
You don't go to a hospital. So again, I'm saying, if we're going to bring in the medical stuff, that's what I'm talking about. If we're talking about the medical reasons people have found for killing babies, then that would be dealt with at a hospital, but it wouldn't be called an abortion. It would be, the people there would be able to deem whether or not the woman's life is truly in danger. You understand? So it wouldn't even be a choice at that point.
Can I bring in something for you guys? Just to tag on to that, Ricky. So the current administration, right, under Trump, his position on this is obviously he's pro-life, right? However, he has 3 exceptions, and the 3 exceptions, I think, is the same exceptions from Reagan or something like that. And it's rape, incest, and the life of the mother. So I just want to throw that out at you guys to discuss that, and I'm curious, you in particular, Matt, because of your position, like, would that policy satisfy you? Whereas, you know, I guess he's saying abortion he's not for, he's straight up pro-life, except for, in the case, he has the 3 exceptions: rape, incest, and the life of the mother. Taking those 3 things out of it, he's pro-life. And if those three things are in play, so to speak, then he's for the mother's choice to decide. You know what I mean? Obviously, she can choose what she wants to do. In that case, would that be acceptable to you? And is that a position that you hold? Or?
I think that was always. I mean, well, that was always the strong argument for the other side. You know, because that right. It was okay. Well, what about the rape? You know?
Yeah. That's why I mentioned earlier the exceptions. Right. Because I wanted to get into it later now.
Right. But so, the thing is, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but just yet. But I think a lot of times when we look at policy versus like one person's point of view, you know, that's one person's point of view.
Well, I'm just saying
he's
the president, and this is going to be the law, right?
Well, no, you got to understand, this is a president going up against Congress. And
Okay, Matt. Hold on, Matt. What I'm asking is, right? Let's say it passes, then, right? My scenario, right? This is it. I'm asking how do you feel about it personally? Like, what exactly is your position? I'm trying to kind of pin you down on where, you know what I mean? Like, what you seem like you're on the fence about where it's okay for the woman to choose. So I'm trying to find out where exactly that is. That's why I'm asking this question.
Oh no, I'm like I said, I'm for a woman to choose.
Oh, completely. In all cases.
Here's the thing. I agree. Now, what you're saying with those 3 points?
No, I'm asking
you said
cases.
those.
Yeah.
No. Those 3 points that you made.
Just for the exceptions.
Right. You're saying
So I'm asking, outside of the 3 exceptions, are you pro-life?
See, that's the thing. I'm pro-life and pro-choice. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said, like, I don't side
Matt,
with any of these.
You can't be both, Matt. You can't be both.
Lukewarm.
Yeah,
it's not lukewarm because
it is absolutely lukewarm.
No. How is it?
Personal courage.
No, wait.
No, how is it? Wait.
Hold
How is it lukewarm?
I don't think you can pigeonhole somebody into choosing something. Two things can be true at the same time.
It was a little worse.
No, but let's listen to
it. Two things can be true. That's absolutely true. But hold on, guys. Hold on. Listen, try to hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'm wrong on this, right?
Okay.
Show me if I am. Two things can be true at the same time, but only if they're non-contradictory, right? So they're contradicting, is what I'm saying. You can't say right now we have a policy. So the policy is that abortion is wrong. Boom, across the board, right? Let's just say that. Then we have the 3 exceptions. So what I want to know from Matt is if he agrees with that, or is he pro-choice even outside of the exceptions. In other words, if it's not a rape, it's not an case of incest, and the life of the mother is not at risk, are you still pro-choice in that case? That's what I want to know. You're either pro-choice or you're not, right?
No, that's not true. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're not pro-choice or not? I don't understand.
No. I am pro-choice and pro-life. The reason why.
But I don't even know what that means.
Okay.
You guys understand what am I by myself here?
No.
Because everybody's quiet. I'm
trying to see Matt.
I'm really pushing him on this because it's not because Matt, I'm not even defending a side here. I'm just trying to understand how you could be both.
So this is why. No, this is why.
He's got it.
This is why I'm both, and that's why I said I cannot subscribe to both sides. Okay, God says I give you life and death, but what does He want you to choose?
Choose life.
What does the scripture say? It says to choose life.
Yes.
So that's what I go with.
Okay, so
I know that. Here's the thing. Yes, murder is wrong, but like I said,
so you're pro-choice because you're saying God gave you the choice to choose. So that's pro-choice.
But here's the thing. But God also says that He wills for man to live.
Yes.
All right. That he shall not suffer but have everlasting life.
So do you think that people should obey that?
Yeah.
Okay, then. So then, how could you be?
So
here's catching this.
No, I am.
No.
Let me ask you a question.
So here's the thing. That to me that sounds like pro-choice and pro-life.
But let me ask you a question. Okay.
Are we using the wrong terminology?
You see, and that's another thing too.
Okay, so
Let me just ask Matt a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask Matt a question real quick. Okay, so abortion it's okay in what circumstance? Under what circumstances is abortion okay?
Here's the thing. Of course, like I said, murder is to me. I disagree with murder.
Okay,
I disagree. And if we're defining abortion as murder, yes, I disagree. And that's why I said I don't totally, when it comes to, again, the medical reasons, and if abortion is necessary to actually save a life, if those procedures are necessary, then yes, like I agree with that.
I hear you saying life of the mother. So that's one of the ones where it's okay.
Right. So there's a pro-life and then there's a pro-choice.
Okay. So life of the mother. All right. So what if there was a rape? Is abortion okay under those circumstances?
Can I clarify some terms?
Okay.
Because I'm still having a real problem with what Matt is saying.
I was going to say, are we using the wrong terminology?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I'm trying.
I don't think we got to explain the terms. Pro-choice doesn't mean have an abortion. Doesn't mean pro-abortion. It means pro-choice. You have the choice in the situation to choose whether to have the baby or not. So I can't understand logically how both can be true. How can you be for pro-choice and for pro-life? Pro-life is exclusive. It does not allow for choice. You understand what I'm saying? This is just logic, guys. This is not. This is not a political position.
But
like they can't both exist.
When we use the term pro-life,
yes,
the concept is that we are going to protect the baby.
Yes.
With no abortion except under the three exceptions.
Exactly. Well,
that's a pro-life stance.
I brought up the three exceptions just to show
stance.
This administration's current position, but some people go even further than that. Some people say even in rape, incest, and life of the mother.
Fine.
Yeah. Okay.
But when we talk about pro-choice,
yes,
the concept is that you have the choice to kill the baby under any circumstance.
Yes.
So that's what we're talking about.
That's what I'm asking.
Right.
Yeah.
So Matt is saying that it depends on the circumstance. Mm-hmm. He wants us to choose life, but he is okay if someone chooses to.
So then that's pro-choice. Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me. What else could it be? Because he's saying to choose.
No, but the desire is to choose life.
Right, but it's still choose.
I understand where your heart is at. But you're still giving. You're not a hard pro-life person and a true pro-lifer. And even though you want people to choose life, if you're giving them the choice, you're not a pro-lifer in the strictest sense of the definition of that term, because in the strict definition of pro-life, that means that it's completely exclusive. It doesn't allow for choice.
No, because see, to me, okay, but that's still.
So if we're changing the definition, then
that's why I said I said it from the beginning. That's a political definition of what pro-life.
Well, that's what
and
we're talking about.
is.
That's what we're talking about, man.
Yeah, and that's why I said I don't subscribe to any of that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To me, like my desire is for people to choose life. Now, again, that's what I said. Yeah. We don't take the choice away, but I want to give them a good reason to choose life.
Okay.
I don't. Again, it's like I'm not. It's to me taking a choice away. That's
okay. Let me ask you a question. Let's try to get past this, right? What exactly does the Bible say about this? And I want to hear this from Pastor Bart, if possible. Like, what is the Christian perspective? Is the Bible clear on the issue of abortion, right to choose, etc.?
The Bible is clear that abortion is taking a life, and a life under God's law is a sin. The Bible is clear. The Bible does not make. Actually, let's look at the example. Jacob's wife, Rachel, she died in childbirth. The child was breached. Mm-hmm. They saved the child, right? They saved the child, and the mother hemorrhaged to death. Today, they would probably kill the baby and save the mother. So the mother died. naturally, the baby was saved. So if we're going to adopt God's way, when it comes to a case where the mother and the child, guess what? If you're going to kill one to save one, it's murder. So,
okay, can I tag on to that, Pastor Bart? So, okay, I understand your position.
No, I tell you what the Bible says.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that I can find another Christian, possibly in this room,
Yes. Yes.
that will have a different perspective on that. Right? So, which leads me to my next question. Sorry, guys, I had to pull them. Okay, so I had put those questions in the chat earlier. So, how can Christians discern when their political beliefs are overshadowing their commitment to biblical values? How can you know that? Does that happen at times? And how can you know that that's happening?
They would have to know what the biblical standard for it is in order to have that type of value. So there's a lot of times when you have churches, there'll be quote unquote churches, but the Bible is pretty far from them, as in they don't read it, they don't know it. They just gotta gather on Sunday. So their viewpoint is more worldly than biblical anyway. So they don't have those issues. I know. For the Harris campaign, they had a bunch of pastors, and I think they had the Clark sisters and all this stuff saying that we're, for Kamala, even though she was totally pro-abortion, which is not, if biblically, is not the Christian standpoint. It's not the Christian view. So people may argue, but if you actually read the scriptures for what it says, it doesn't say anywhere that killing a baby is okay for, in that case, unless when God was judging a nation and be like, all right, kill everybody.
Right.
So here's
I knew Space was going to jump on that.
I'm gonna throw the net. I'm gonna cast the net, and then you guys, I'm gonna cast the net because I have to cast the net. Yo, it's crazy to me because everything sounds so good and so right? But here's the thing that I'm realizing, that it's one thing when you have the head knowledge of something, and it's a whole other thing when you have the experience. For example, if they said to you, now let's flip the script, right? They will cut your penis off because of certain things, right? A lot of political beliefs is based on your own personal feelings towards something, right? So how it's hard to gauge, right? What is, in essence, I don't want to use the word right, but it's hard to gauge what to base these rules and laws and regulations of, right? Because they're run by man.
Or is it even realistic?
And is it realistic?
Because you brought up the point about how to avoid abortion in the first place.
Right,
So
it's
don't have sex, but everybody's doing
we're
it, right?
we're the ones having sex.
Exactly.
So in trying to implement it, everything sounds correct, right? But in real time, in real life, like as they say, right? How does that really play out, though? Yes, we're supposed to not do this, and we're supposed to not do this, and here's the law of the land, right? But we're in a critical time right now. We've been in a critical time, right? In terms of, I can say to you, yeah, here's the law. Who's the one setting the law? I could almost guarantee you the one making the law is the one doing the act.
That's true.
So how do you determine? And he's the one making the law.
But
you know what I mean?
From a Christian perspective, God is clear. There is no issue that God wants us to do or not do that is not specified, thou shalt not, and thou shalt. The gray areas is where your conscience becomes in play. If God does not rule, for example, in the bed, certain acts, certain religions believe you shouldn't perform certain acts in the marital bed. God doesn't address that. He doesn't address. He doesn't say thou shalt not. So whatever you want to do is your conscience. So we have to filter every decision through God's laws.
And also,
I'm glad you said that, and then that's why it goes back to the first question, right? Like, how much should church get involved in politics? Because how do you hold the integrity of that law in politics in the world that we live in? When the people that are actually, all of us are in this.
Right.
All of us are doing this in real time.
Right.
Right? So then how does the church effectively get involved
It's tough.
Okay, so
in politics and,
I don't know if
and
it's
try to, like, is that even a thing? Can that even happen?
I believe that it can, in the sense of where the church has to stick to its message. Like, so you have people that are saying, well, abortion is bad, but they're still doing the acts.
The act that caused.
But they also bring upon themselves the consequences of those acts. So I'm saying the consequences of those acts happen to be a woman getting pregnant, and then there being an abortion. You can't. It's like speaking out of both sides of your mouth. You can't keep doing the act and then say abortion is wrong, but you're only speaking to the woman. It's like in John 9 when they brought the lady out.
Oh, you're talking about the men.
Right.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
When they brought the woman out, and it was like, we're going to stone her because we found her in adultery. I was like, well, it takes two people for adultery. Where's the dude? But, that's the double standard that we're dealing with. So I believe the church should just get back to its regular message and then have people say, boo, he said we shouldn't have sex if we're not married. But I'm like, well, having sex without marriage has not been helping y'all. It hasn't worked.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I think the bigger issue right now is sexuality.
Well, see, and to jump on that, and
Let's go to sexuality.
We're talking about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
because
That's
the thing
really
is
the
this,
issue.
Let's
because
talk about sex, baby.
the reality is with Christians, we have we understand, for the most part, we understand morality.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, how are we going to apply morality especially in this country? Now, let's say with Dwayne saying, yeah, if you can't keep your pants, zipped up, whatever, then you're gonna apply this thing. You're already tainted. You're gonna apply morality a little different than the other person. Now the other person is going to be marginalized, and they're going to say, we need change because we don't like how you're applying this. So then this is why you have morality versus change, and this is where that struggle ends up always happening, because you're going to have, again, we know what's right, but if you're tied to something else, you're gonna, like you said, those people who make the laws are probably the ones that are
almost 100% of the time.
So it's really, how are we applying those laws? Like, if we're Christian and we want to really have that influence, how are we supposed to do that? Or are we interpreting morality correct as we see it in the Bible?
Okay, well, yeah, there's that. But let's just say you're morally flimsy. I'll give people that. They want to keep having sex. Fine.
Okay. Right.
I'll get personal. My wife and I in the first 5.5 years of my marriage, we went from one child, because she brought in a child from a previous relationship, to 5. A lot of kids, very quick. She smelled like cookies. That's just what happens. But here's the thing. My last child just turned 11. You know why I haven't had any children since? I went to a doctor and I got a vasectomy. That way, I'm just here for the practice. Me and my wife could practice all the time now. But I'm saying, if that is your view, if it's your view to where you don't want kids, you don't want to do all of these, there's a doctor that you can go to, and it's not an abortion doctor. Nobody has to die. You just get that done, and you can practice all you want if you love it that much. But I'm saying, if you don't do that, short of doing that, you're having kids, and those kids are being murdered. And as a Christian, I believe that we will be accountable for those children's blood as a nation.
Okay.
But that's not the train of thought in this country, though, man. Like, that's not the forward type of thinking. Yeah, I understand that, but that's just not the...
help everybody.
But
You know what it is? I jump in, Matt. I'm just going to throw this to you. It's hard to determine what the true intentions are when the bottom line of it is economics, is money. You know what I mean? If you follow the money, you realize the reason why a lot of things are happening, right? So when you say, yeah, this should be the law of the land, and a politician goes, this should be the law of the land, and this is what we're going to do, and we know how that plays out, right? I don't have to repeat it. But it's hard when money's at the end of that. You know what I mean? Like, it's so then yeah, this is the law, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, we're gonna do this and that, and then years later you find out all the stuff that's coming on, i.e. Diddy, And I'm not using Diddy as the scapegoat, but he happened to be the headline right now.
Everybody else is. Why not?
He happened to be the headlines right now. You know what I mean? And then now everybody's scared because everybody been doing crazy. Everybody been in that party. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But just to piggyback on what Dwayne said about the procedure he did, it's not even necessary. There are tools that man has created to prevent pregnancy. I mean, pregnancy is not the end result.
You don't mean condoms, do you?
What I'm saying, you could do. The reality is this: ever since, no matter what law God gave us, we all going to break the laws. We all broke the laws. But if you're going to break the law, there are things you could do to prevent the dire consequences at the end. So let's put some responsibility on the person performing the acts too.
Yeah.
And let's teach that. If you're going to do it, at least this is
be responsible.
Be responsible for
it.
Listen, I can't argue that.
Yeah.
I can't argue that. You have to take accountability for your own actions. That's true. But here comes Diddy.
Oh God.
Hey, no, actually, he's safe. Most of those were guys.
Everybody's scared. Everybody's scared.
Most of those were guys.
Everybody running for cover. You know what I mean?
Doesn't count.
Because we be them ones, though.
Yeah.
See, this is why I wanted regular.
So listen, I think a lot of the big issue, man, is sexuality. I think there's a lot of stuff that hold on, now I'm back. I think there's a lot of stuff that is rooted in sexuality.
Well, okay, I'll tell you this.
The church is afraid to talk about it.
You know, I'll say this. I think that if you really look at cults and some of these, like, not all ministries, but like a lot of those bigger ministries, you'll see the downfall is always linked to some type of sexual immorality. And they try to cover it up in this act of trying to be pure. So that whole purity culture, what they called it, really destroyed a lot of ministries, destroyed a lot of ministers. And I think it's their attempt to try to handle sexuality.
Appreciate it, though.
You know, when you have these ministers who they make their daughters wear this promise ring. Okay, I promise not to do it, you know, before I'll meet the man in my dreams.
Why you gotta do that voice, though? Why you gotta do that voice?
And they're crying and you know, but like I get it, I understand it. But the thing is, it's like you're doing that off of your own, like you're trying to make things happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where, you know, you're operating outside of grace. You know, and when you're trying to do it on your own and you're trying to implement things to make things, you know, you're trying to create this atmosphere of purity. Because, you know, like you said, everyone's sleeping around, everyone's doing it. And you know, it's this, I get it, but at the same time, it becomes a bit legalistic. But that ends up being the thing that Achilles heel of a lot of ministries. And you'll see that's also the thing that drives a lot of cults. It has to do with sexuality.
Well, I mean, I think with that, the reason that there's a problem with that is they've taken away common sense when it comes to quote unquote purity culture. Like there shouldn't be as much merchandise when it comes to that. You just should have the conversation. Listen, little kid, I have this, you know, my wife and I have this amount of children, and we are within the bonds of marriage. And the reason that it's going the way that it's supposed to is because this is how God set it up. Now, you can try to do it your own way, and I'm not even going to get mad at you because I understand why you would try to do it. This is a very sexualized culture. You couple that with your hormones being at 10, so when you're like 15, 16, you're going out of your mind. I get that. But there will be consequences to those actions. You don't need a ring for that. You really don't.
But you got these ministries, especially out in the Midwest, man, they hardcore believe in that.
Yeah.
You know, we want purity and you know, like I said, they get the merchandise.
Yeah,
so then is purity based on you not having sex?
That seems to be the drive.
If you have sex, you're not pure anymore?
Well, before marriage.
Outside of marriage.
Outside of marriage, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, I think I get what you're saying because it goes back to that archaic. That woman has been touched. She is unclean, dirty.
So does purity?
And it's only for women though.
That's what I'm about to say.
Yeah,
is it only for women or is it for men?
For men.
For men too?
It's for men. That's all.
The Bible forbids intimacy outside of marriage.
Right.
Yes.
With a middle finger. So.
Right.
But what about within the American culture? No. Like the church here in America, it seems to be more emphasis placed on young women. Yeah. Like they like I said, they have the big service, make these girls put the ring on, and I'll keep it till I get married.
And they be the ones though.
And they
be the ones that put that ring on and be the ones sleeping with them too.
Yeah, and they're basically it's basically just like the Pharisees in John 9.
Like, why are we so scared to talk about sex in church?
Because we believe, and as a minister, the people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge, right? If you listen, let me just give you an example. There's a woman in our church that she says she's lonely. If you're lonely, you need a companion, right? But she's saying God is a husband. Jesus is a husband, but you're lonely. If Jesus is your husband, you won't be lonely. So there is a fear of admitting that I have hormones kicking and I need, that is a need God gives. It's a drive God gives us. Right. God's purpose was for us to procreate, right? And God gave man that doggish drive. They call us dogs, but that's that drive God gave man because some women don't have the drive, and God needs somebody to start the motor. But there's nothing wrong in that.
Talk. I like that. Start the motor.
Nothing wrong in admitting that you have desires. God gave us this desire. Now we have to learn how to channel them and control them. But we're not discussing it because if we talk about sex in the church, we believe somehow we're not pure and the people going to go and perform sex. But
I think that's what it is.
They're doing it anyway.
They're like, if you talk about it, they'll do it more.
No, but tell them.
If we keep it a secret, they won't do it.
And you pretend it's not happening, but it's happening in the church.
It's happening.
Ministers can keep themselves together.
Yeah.
They attract
we just had a big discussion about that the other day.
Yeah.
When we were watching the fight, remember? And what were you talking? We were talking about somebody was going to couples retreat, and then me being my normal provocative
couples
self.
Retreat.
I was saying like how a lot of those.
You don't have to touch them.
I'm like, touch and agree.
You don't have to touch them.
Touch and agree.
But basically, I was telling the guys, I was being provocative, of course, but I was just saying, a lot of those things are BS because they don't really address the core issues that are plaguing couples, particularly in the black church and the American church, etc. and stuff. Because they're major issues, right? And we know what they are. I mean, infidelity. There's a divorce rate. I mean, it's insane. I don't know. Last I checked, there's someplace in the 80 percentile. It's
same as the world.
So it's like, based upon that, right? Those type of statistics. I mean, we should probably be screaming for help, right? Like we're in a terrible, terrible situation, but we're talking about all the other stuff and not really addressing the core. And I know why, because obviously addressing those core things are extremely uncomfortable. But I guess my position is, if not in a church or some church type of setting, some whatever, your small groups or whatever, I don't care, right? But if there's no outlet for that whatsoever, man, you have a concoction for disaster.
100%. These things are meant to send guys on an apology tour.
Uh-oh. I like Latrice's question.
These things are meant. Most of these things are catered to send guys.
What was or is your best sex advice you received growing up in church?
Good question. You got none.
None in the church.
Not in the church.
Not sex.
No.
Not at all.
And we got horrible marriage advice too.
No.
Not at all.
You don't have a mic, man.
Anybody else? Anybody had good?
Stay silent.
You're not talking.
Anybody had good sexual advice in church?
Look at Matt's face.
I've never. Listen.
It was never this.
Don't do it.
I'm digging.
Don't do it.
What? All right. I'll say this. What would be good advice?
Oh boy.
Well,
I didn't know.
Okay,
no,
so-
no, no.
'cause
I'm
I
not
don't
being
even-
honest.
No,
I
I'm
remember
serious.
some sex advice. I remember some sex advice given by the pastor at the time. He said, "Make sure the wife finishes before you." I remember that.
The wife.
And that's great advice. But I'm just saying,
The wife.
other than that, make sure your wife finishes before you.
So
But
now-
that was it.
Finishes
don't
the
be
laundry,
selfish.
or
that
No, orgasm, sir.
that was,
the laundry?
big O.
Don't be selfish.
Oh,
that was
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the retreat.
Yeah, but
let her do the laundry
No, but
first,
like-
then you do the laundry.
Church office. I think it was the actual the pulpit that he
Like the
said it.
council, marital council.
No, he was the
Just talking
pastor.
to you.
He was the
Okay,
pastor.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
no, being that Pastor John is here, like,
Yeah.
like
Listen, man.
I'd like to hear your opinion because I've personally never heard good sexual advice. from
Because
They
church.
said sexual. They said sex. That's
Sex-
two,
sex-
two different things.
That's
Two different. No,
okay,
it's not
sex-
techniques over here. You know?
sex-
I-
no, Rick.
Advice.
Why shouldn't I get techniques? What do you mean? Wait a minute.
That's
I
all
should-
part of it. I
Listen,
feel,
if
right?
you're telling me it's better
You
to have
can-
sex
you
in
can
the
read-
morning,
you can
need
read-
to tell me that it's better to have sex in the
You
morning.
can
That-
read.
that-
You can read wisdom yourself. You can read that.
Look at-
you can read
look-
that
no,
yourself.
man,
This is
why.
why. Talk about it.
Listen,
You can have a sermon
What's your
on.
best move? What's your best move, Rick? Don't worry. Give me your best move. What's your best move? You might be teaching me something. You've been married a year longer than me. I might need to learn something. Come
No,
on, tell me.
stop it.
But I agree with Rick. On that
Stop
note, I think what happened, you have two people. I cannot give somebody my advice. It may not work for them.
right.
You have to get to know your partner,
There you go.
and you guys
That's the advice.
do your exploration, right?
There you go.
Right.
The marital bed is undefined.
There you go.
So you got to know what works for you, what
See,
doesn't
but
work
even
for
that
you.
is great advice.
That's well,
But you don't even get that much.
Yeah.
But that is great advice.
Yeah,
that's
Right.
great
See,
advice.
like,
Yeah.
that was never talked about.
was never
in
discussed.
church growing up.
Yeah.
Period.
We just know about the resurrection.
If I heard that earlier, then maybe.
Whoa!
That's it.
Was that an innuendo? Like what?
And I noticed that in the church,
is
this
wrong?
is a subject we don't
It's
talk
terrible.
about. Even
Yeah.
during marital counsel, we tell the wife to do this, we tell the husband to do this. And when I talk to married people who are going to get married, I say, listen, God ordained this thing for that purpose, apart from creation. Procreation is for pleasure. We got that pleasure zone he gives us. Explore it, and Solomon says, ravish.
There you
Ravish.
The
Can you
wife.
define that word, ravish?
Cheer it
I
up.
like that word.
Cheer it
For
up.
there's something about the ish.
Yeah.
I like it.
Rav. The Rav is what I like.
Ravish.
The Rav is what I
Be
like.
talking to the man. He said, ravish.
Did Uncle Bart just say tear it up?
Cheer it up. Cheer it up.
Whoa.
Is that what ravish means? Tear it up?
Cheer
Mash it up.
Like a rag
Mash it up,
dog.
mash it up,
Mash it
mash it up.
mash it up, dog.
No, mash it up. But if she gives you the hand on the stomach, slow down.
Oh, okay.
That's slow down.
Okay.
The hand, slow down.
Listen.
That means slow down.
So, okay.
But the thing is that we don't discuss it, and this is the only avenue God says this is your free zone, your green light. You go for it, and that's what happened a lot of times in marriage. One person is not, and so the person is seeking pleasure outside. Another thing is marital counsel. I would say, listen, this is not your body. The Bible said this is not your body. Your husband owns that. That's his body. The wife
Man,
owns your
that's-
husband's body. So if you tell couples, hey, it's my body, that your body is mine, I could eat whenever I want to eat. You know what I'm
That
saying?
sounds amazing, but I'm not sure if that's.
But it is.
I don't know.
Okay, but hold,
I don't know if I want to go down that road.
No, but here's
I'm
here's
just
the
saying,
thing.
I'm just saying what it was.
No,
saying.
actually, no, I don't
No,
want
yes.
to go down that
What
road.
the Bible says.
Okay, let me say something about that, right? So, I can say in our society, right? And I think this works everywhere. Everywhere. The man's body in marriage belongs to the woman.
Yes.
Like he's working like a dog day and night to provide. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why he's killing himself. That's why he's dying before she is, because she's getting from his body.
So let me ask you this, right? If both bodies belong to each other,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, yeah, it meant sexually though.
Yeah, I know.
It didn't work.
I know.
I was just about to go there.
I know, but
Yeah, that was
you
just
see,
about
I
to-
believe
that had nothing to do with
No,
working.
I was
no,
just about to go there. Does that
You're
mean,
supposed to work it.
I
That's
get-
what that means.
I get what
so,
you're saying.
so what I'm saying, I was just about to go there. So
Right.
Are you clarifying that right now?
Yeah, that's what I was clear.
No. Dwayne, you don't have to, because we
Okay.
all are aware of the
Agreed.
fact we all are.
So it has nothing to do with your
No,
work.
we're talking about aggressors and all that. Right? You don't have to tell a dude, "Hey, man, you want some?" Like, you know, once you looking like he's ready. You know what I mean? So I don't think like you have to define that. Obviously, when you're talking about somebody giving their body to somebody else, the man is always ready to give his body to his wife, generally speaking.
I've seen some marriages that's not always.
I understand. Well, I mean that's a sickness. That's something.
That's
an abnormality.
That's an abnormality. And the woman
the woman often argues that because they have the world on their shoulders.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of times they're not readily available.
The world is on their shoulders.
Meaning like the world on their shoulders, they have responsibilities, they're raising kids.
More than
bodies change when
more
you have
than
kids.
the dude.
I'm not saying what's more than the dude. I'm just saying what I've heard.
Moods.
Right?
No, I'm saying we have to look at each other's load.
That's true. This is what it is. This is the load, and therefore I cannot perform any sexual
Yeah, but what if you say that though?
On a consistent
What if you
basis?
say, hey, I have the world on my shoulders. I can't do the things that I'm supposed to be doing.
It becomes a problem.
I've seen
right?
it happen.
It becomes a problem. But what I'm saying is, I think there's another issue too, right? In terms of like, what do you deem important or priority? Is it what you do, or is it your wife or your husband or your spouse? Because a lot of times the society says you work outside, like you said, we outside working, we're doing it, and guess what happens when you're outside working and doing all that stuff? You're losing time because you're outside working.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's nice to say to each other, yeah, my body is yours and your body's mine, right? But yet when you do the actual living, we find that like most of the times we're working and the schedules are different.
Okay, talking about
and you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to bring it in real time.
Right.
Like yeah, we say this, but in real time, what actually
But
does happen?
but there's another issue though.
Okay.
The issue of love. So if you love your wife as yourself, I mean, and you're not going to pressure your wife, who is emotionally
That's not fun.
That's not fun. So
she doesn't have to pressure you to do what
exactly.
you do.
So we talk about mutual agreement
right.
and
It has
stuff
to be
like that.
mutual.
Right.
But we're not talking about just this is my body. I'm going to take you whether you want to.
No.
Well, I think marriage is a weird thing. Getting back to your because okay, so when we're not married, we're teenagers, we want to have sex all the time. When we get married, initially we want to have sex all the time. But when you start having strife with your wife and she's maybe speaking to you in a way where you got a tail in between your legs and belittling you, you may not want to have sex with her. So in that case, if your body is not yours, keeping the scripture, I really don't want to touch you right now. But all right, I guess I got to do it because
Wow.
So see,
That's you're opening another. Oh my God!
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my
The
God!
headline says this is what you should do.
Right.
But in real time, all these little nuances
Wait.
matter.
I don't like when you do that though.
What do you mean?
I don't like when we do that because it's kind of like if it's not working, don't do it. Is that what we're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the headline is great. Right?
I
No
got
one's
you.
going to argue the headline.
Okay.
In real time,
doesn't
when I
work.
say real time, in terms of daily living,
Actual
there
life.
is so many nuances
Of course,
involved, right?
But you
And
should
so
struggle though.
My thing is, how do you navigate? So then
You should struggle.
we just said we don't get sex education in the church, right?
Yeah.
We just said that. So now, if we're speaking to another generation, we're the ones.
Right, so let's do it.
What sexual advice are you giving the younger generation right
That's why I'm on this podcast, so let them know.
With TikTok, with Instagram, with booty,
Yeah,
with
let's
titties, with everything everywhere that readily available to them.
Right.
What is your sexual advice to the young generation right now?
don't get your relationship advice from TikTok. Number one.
Yeah, don't
Number
listen
two,
to.
Make sure that you work very hard not to make your marriage adversarial. As far as what's in it for me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I can't. I gotta make sure. I gotta make sure that my wife doesn't get so much, and I'm not getting everything. This relationship has to be 50-50. There are times when the relationship is 100 to 0, where you have to kind of carry your spouse along, depending on what that person might be going through. So, a lot of times when you're in a lot of counsel that the younger generation is getting from TikTok or from unadvisable type of pastors that don't really know that much, is that it makes their marriage very adversarial. It's like, well, if I give her this, what's in it for me? Like, well, your marriage is not going to last very long, sir. Or if it does last long, it's going to be very bitter. So I think 65% of it is And the number one rule: make sure that when it says "I love my wife" and want what's best for her, and our relationship is not adversarial at all. Making sure that yes, she's my friend, and I know she's not against me, and I'm for her. So that's the main thing. That's the main thing.
But there always will be conflict, right?
There'll
because
be conflict.
you have two people trying to mesh as one.
Right.
And understanding the person's need, because love is really promoting the highest good of the other person,
Right, of the other person.
Of the other person.
Yeah.
But sometimes we are selfish.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
And
that's what I'm saying.
When selfishness comes in, I'm promoting my good at the expense of my spouse. There'll be problems.
So there's going to be conflict, but the way
got-
that you do the conflict is going to be different.
I got a question for you guys.
So we're talking.
Out of the two presidential candidates, right?
Right.
Because we didn't get into any of that stuff
Right.
yet.
Okay.
But I don't know if we will. But I'm just curious.
do it.
Which one do you guys think was more pro family?
Really? That's not a question. Come on.
Ooh.
It's not a question.
So
That is absolutely not a question.
J.D. Vance. I'm not going to say Trump or Kamala Harris. J.D. Vance probably.
That is.
let's go. Let's
Okay,
go down
Dwayne.
to Pastor Bart.
Matt,
Pastor Bart.
Yeah?
Which one do you think was more pro family?
Pro-family.
Yes.
The one who
was not trying to kill babies.
You want to keep the family together.
The one who wasn't trying to kill babies.
That's right.
Okay, we know you talk. All right, Dwayne, how about you?
Are you really going round table style?
Yeah.
I plead
That's
the
fine.
fifth.
That's fine. That's
Don't
fine.
even come to me.
I was
Dude, he's setting it up. No, I know what he's doing, dude. Yo, I know exactly what he's doing. He's setting it up.
I'm going to say
What are you talking about?
Yo,
I'm
you
gonna
did
say
round table on
I'm
us.
going to say J.D. Vance, the Trump ticket.
yeah,
I'm not foolish enough to believe that Trump is a Christian or in the family at the most.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Right.
trying to get at.
Right,
I'm trying
right,
to
right.
I'm trying to start that conversation.
Yeah.
Right. So J.D. Vance.
But he
probably.
has some fear of God in
Yeah.
him, like the Nebuchadnezzar kind of fear.
Yeah, man.
How about you, Matt?
No, I say neither.
You think they're equal in there?
Well, equal, yeah.
You going to go for the
Equal?
childless cat lady,
Okay.
Matt? Nothing.
How about Ricky? Well, Ricky already answered.
I already
Space,
answered.
You plead the fifth, right?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. All right. We all know what that means. www.fifth.com. No worries.
No worries, bro.
I'm just curious because I mean, it's a bunch of men. I'm just honestly, right? All jokes aside, it's a bunch of men at this table. All my friends love you guys. My uncle here. You know what I mean? I have high respect for everybody on this table, and you're all family men. That's one consistent thing. If we don't agree on nothing else, we all agree on that. So I was just curious about you guys' take on, because I think that the leader of the United States of America, that should be a big major issue, considering it's so important to all you guys.
Yeah.
Everybody's quiet.
No,
All right?
No, that's good. That's good.
Here, I mean,
That's good. That's
Nodding
good.
in agreement. Yes.
That's good. That's good.
That's it.
That boy good. That boy good.
That boy good. That boy good.
Nobody want to touch it. Okay.
No, it's good.
No,
It's
let's
all
go there.
said.
Let's
It's
go
all
there.
said.
Let's go there.
so-
Let's go there.
All right, so fine.
Let's go there.
You got something to say? Or
No, no,
I got
no,
I thought you were fifth. I thought you were.
Play the video.
Okay, let me show you.
All
guys
right,
because
I might come out.
This is this is Trump, right? And the reason I'm gonna play his videos because let me just give us the context, right? So what's this guy's name? Man?
Tyrus.
I forgot. Tyrus.
Yeah.
You want to preface this, Uncle Bart, because we were the ones who were watching this.
Tyrus had an interview with Trump. That's before the election. And after the interview, Trump went back stage and talked to Tyrus's 10-year-old daughter for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then so Tyrus was telling Trump, I mean, I respected you, but now as a man, I see you as a family man. So something like that.
Yeah, I think he's well, we're gonna watch it, but basically I think he was saying something like I voted for you because of
The
policy,
policy, but
strictly
now-
because of policy.
But now,
And I had issues with you. And he's like, I owe you an apology. And I see that I see why you fight the way that you fight. I had an issue with the way that you fight, but he said, I see why you do it now. And he was basically just saying that I see that you're a family man. There's a lot of great things that you've done. And, that type of harshness, I guess, quote unquote, that, that we see coming from you. I see where it's coming from. I see the reason why you do this. Anyway, I think it's a pretty good clip. Check it out. So tell me what you guys think. About 4 minutes.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
It's a good show.
And I actually owe you an apology before we start. I've been very critical about you, how you fight all through the campaigns. I voted for you because I like policy. Right. I didn't know you as a man. And I think when you don't understand what a man fights for, you can get lost, especially with all the noise we're seeing from fake news, et cetera, who created these pictures from you. So Gutfeld show's over. Cameras are off. We go backstage, and I expected you to be like every politician or anybody I've ever celebrity I've bodyguarded for, and you met my family, and you talked to my daughter. My daughter is 10 years old. Her name is Georgie. You guys talked for 20 minutes. If nobody knew, you could have been her grandfather. And you were talking about her horses and her dreams. And I was sitting there and I was like, I have been so wrong about this man because I never understood why you fight the way you fight. You're a family man.
I am. Well, I am.
You're a father.
And your daughter's a gorgeous, really, and your wife, the whole thing. I mean, you have got some setup, I'll tell you. But your family's great and you're great and you've really done something and you've captured a certain spirit. You know, a friend of mine who's very smart, he's also a very big guy. He said, because I'm big and strong, people think I'm not the smartest guy.
Oh, I know.
Okay? You are a really smart guy. And I see it, and I've watched it, and I like the show. And we have the privilege of having had the highest rating in the history of the show when I did it a couple of weeks ago. That was his highest
Of all
rating.
time.
Of all time, yeah.
We beat network television.
You beat everybody.
And they were up 35 million homes.
right.
And it was a landslide.
Yep.
Now, you're putting it on me. I'm throwing it back to you, Mr. President. Why do we not hear more about Donald Trump, the father, the grandfather, and I did a deep dive. There are some things you have done that when they say those horrible things like he's Hitler, he's a racist, did they not forget in 1991 what you did with Nelson Mandela? Yeah. Would you care to share that? Because I would love to hear that.
I never talk about it.
No, you do not. And I know why, because you're a man.
Yeah. I mean, I just have great relationships with a lot of people. People say that, you know, a little bit like you do. I don't think it's a narrative the press likes. Maybe it's not even a narrative that I should have. We have to protect our country, and maybe we should let the other side. I don't even call them the enemy. I think we have more of an enemy from within than we do from outside. You know, if you have a smart president, they talk about China and Russia and everything else. If you have a smart president, they're not going to be the problem. We have a bigger problem from within, and they hate it. I noticed today they were saying, he said the enemy from within. Of course, it's Adam Schiff. These are bad people. These are sick people and bad people, and it's true. But I think it's a narrative that they don't like, frankly. I think the fake news, a term I think I came up with. I'm very proud.
Oh, you did. You coined it.
It's not
you
tough.
should probably trademarked it, but you know, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I should
I'm not going to give you business tips.
But you know, it's funny because it's a great term, but it's actually not strong enough because it's beyond fake. It's really bad.
Nelson Mandela and 80 of his constituents were trying to come to the United States.
Yeah.
The United States government wasn't helping him. No one was helping him. You chartered a 727 plane for their entire trip.
Yeah.
How is somebody, and it's crazy because you can talk about anything, and why is it hard for you to talk about the things you've done? It runs in your family. Your father helped build a synagogue. I mean, why do we not know those things?
It's something that I've never, I love doing it. I don't need praise for it. I don't, we all like a certain level of praise, but I've never, I just like helping people.
What do you guys think? There's like this whole list apparently of, you know, really cool things that he's done, particularly for people of color. You know, they talk about you know, him and all the stuff he did for Jesse Jackson, all the programs that he started, all the people that he's helped with his. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there, and I find it interesting that he doesn't talk about it, which is, I would be bragging about this stuff if I was him. But he doesn't, and, you know, all the stuff, people are digging up all the stuff, and he's like, yeah, I find that really interesting. What do you guys think?
Well, it humanizes him, and it's a lot different from what the news up until like 2005 or 2006 when he ran the first time. He was always in the news for something he was doing philanthropically up until the time that he started running. Whenever he started running, I can't remember now. I'm tired, but it all changed when he started running. So everybody who used to be his friends, who used to go to his parties, Whoopi Goldberg, all those people, Snoop Dogg, everybody,
Oprah was really tight with them.
Oprah was tight with him, and now all of a sudden, those same people are calling him Hitler, which was weird to me because it doesn't seem like he's changed any from the 1980s. He hasn't changed at all.
Well, I think what changed is he started running for the Republican Party.
That's what
Right.
changed.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, but we saw that coming. So
Same dude, yeah.
Yeah, we saw he's the same dude. So when they started all saying he was Hitler, I was like, yeah, I call BS because now all he had to do was run for the Republican Party, and now all of a sudden he's Hitler. It's weird to me. So yeah, I mean, he seemed like a pretty cool dude. He was in Home Alone too, and that made me vote for him.
Because he was in, wait, you voted for him because he was in Home Alone too?
Home Alone too. If you're talking Macaulay Culkin, that's my homie right there.
Dwayne, you voted for this?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow,
That's right.
man.
That was one of the biggest
Wow,
grossing movies
America.
of all time. Come on.
This
y'all,
guy.
y'all voted for Kamala because Meg Thee Stallion twerked, which was great.
There you go. I was looking for that. I couldn't find it. Thank you, Dwayne.
Cardi
That's
B.
why they voted on
Beyonce
this
got
song.
paid $10 million, didn't sing a note. Come on, man. What are we doing out
That's
here?
amazing.
Listen, I ain't mad at her.
That's amazing.
Listen,
No. Don't be mad at her. Mad at who paid
I'm not
her.
mad at her. I just
got her
wasn't going to
money.
vote for her.
The establishment. Right.
Yeah.
But to be
Matt, I want to know what you think about this because
Yes, Matt.
I know your position and stuff, and what you think of. I know
Right.
you don't like him that much.
Well, I think
So,
you said.
like in light of like stuff like this, what do you?
Well, I think it's what you said. Like once, it's like he got under that ticket. It's like the company that he joined forces with, and I think that, like I said, it's the company he has, and then also I say that it's really what surrounds him. Like I said, the idolatry of and the way that part of America has placed this guy. I think that the idolatry of Trump in some way was a lot due to the adoration of Obama. I think Obama was someone who was very well liked, and that really disturbed a part of America. So when you have somebody like Trump who's running under this ticket, this is definitely going to guarantee and secure.
Can I ask you? Why do you use the term idolatry?
Because they praise this man. Like when you got
you mean idolatry in like the good sense?
no, in the
or
bad
the
sense.
real-
Like
okay.
they hailed this guy as like their savior.
Okay.
Yeah.
Save the
When you
party.
say
you know why?
Matt,
I don't know if that's. Go ahead.
Matt,
Right, and that's what I said. Like I think that a lot of that had to do with the extremism
Okay, I
operating on the other side of the spectrum.
okay,
You
gotcha.
know, like, I felt like it was-
the
that's what I
extremists
said.
You're talking about.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Isn't that to the
She said, "Isn't that to the fault of the people who are idolizing Trump for the same reason?"
Yeah, you cannot not like him because other people are idolater. It's weird.
voted for Obama just
You can't be like, I hate Michael Jackson music because everybody's talking about Michael Jackson. Like, oh, I hate that dude. That makes no sense.
Well, then also he did like the remarks, the stuff that came out of his mouth
Like what?
during his campaign,
Like what?
talking about Mexico.
What about Mexico?
Bringing their bad people over here.
Do they not
He
bring
talked
their bad people?
He talked bad about Haiti.
Does every foreign country not kick out their nasty people?
He talked bad about Haiti.
What?
And then also, like I said,
Word.
his first cabinet was garbage. You got all these people. First of all, he was firing half of his cabinet.
So he agreed with you.
Yeah, and he didn't.
So he agreed
No,
with
because
you
what
that
happened
they were
was 'cause
garbage.
the company
It was
that
his
he
first
kept.
time. He was a newbie. First time president.
Right.
It
And
makes
that's what I'm
sense. You gotta
saying.
make
Once
some
you ran
mistakes.
under that ticket,
Uh-huh.
he became the enemy of a lot, like you said, a lot of the people that were once supporting him.
Right.
Okay, can we take one
Right.
thing at a time? Rick, I want you to address the Mexico thing. Because
What Mexico thing?
Matt just said that he made comments about Mexico that was disparaging, I guess.
Oh, like sending their bad people over here.
Yes, they were, yeah.
But it wasn't just Mexico. Everybody sent their bad people over here.
So you don't have
Don't
a
you think
problem
it's just garbage of us to accept them rather than him saying that they're sending them? Don't you think so?
To say that, no, wait. You got to rewind that back.
No, okay. Because you were saying he's bad.
You said that everyone sends their bad people. That's not true.
Okay, guys, can I just stop you for 1 second? Okay, I just want to get positions, and
all right,
so we can have the entry point.
So then we can
for the discussion.
We can
right?
Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Let's go.
Exactly. So Matt, I think you're saying Trump is more or less he's racist, basically. More or less because of the statement.
I never said that.
He don't believe
Matt,
I'm saying.
I didn't say you never. Listen to our words, Matt. I know you didn't say that. I'm trying to get to the root of what, you know what I mean? Because we're using a lot of words and innuendos and stuff like that. Like, what exactly is your problem with what he said? What was bad about it? So that you could defend that position. I want to hear Ricky's take on it afterwards.
Right.
What was bad about what was the Mexico statement, and what was bad about it?
Well, because it speaks to me when he makes that statement, it speaks to
What's the statement?
a deeper issue, sending their bad people over. Also, when he called those other countries the S-hole countries,
he called it shithole countries.
Right. So to me, it speaks to an issue. It speaks to an issue.
Okay, Matt, what was wrong?
What was wrong with
the reason why
statement?
The reason why it's wrong because it's demoralizing not only a group but also disregarding the history of those particular groups.
Matt, can I ask you a question? Do you think the people who were left in Mexico after those people came here would agree with him that those people are bad people?
Well, no, because you got people that were coming into this country really trying to
no, but that's not those he was talking about. He actually talks about those. He talks about the people who are hardworking and.
Can I pause you guys for 1 second?
And so on.
Okay,
he talks about that.
I just pulled it up real quick. So here's his exact statement, word for word, right?
Oh, nice.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people. What exactly is wrong with this?
Okay, the fact that you say some, I assume. So you're sure about one thing, but then you're assuming another and not being sure about that particular group of people.
Like, that's really it? That's your...
That's
like
part of it.
The assume part? Like, really?
It's the assumption.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to belittle your position, but I mean, the assume, that's the issue. The assume.
That's when you're okay. That's why I said like the words that you speak. Yeah.
Wow.
If you're making an assumption about one group that you think.
Okay. Let me.
So that sounds like it definitely sounds like pandering.
Let me hold 1 second. This is one more question for Matt, and I want to hear because I really want to hear Ulrich's position on this. Right, Matt. He said he assumes like there are good people coming. Right. What exactly is wrong with it? Tell me again.
The fact that he's assuming about good people, but he's sure about the bad ones.
Well, there's a way you can be sure.
Do you not know? Is that why you're having a problem with this?
Okay, one more question. Sorry, guys. Sorry. No, is it Matt? You know, I mean, we're all using words here, right, to try to get the point out of what.
Let's define.
What exactly do you think Trump meant? Now that we got exactly what he said, right? We could always dissect words and impart meaning to certain words. You know what I'm saying? One word can mean a million different things. What do you think he meant by what he said that you have a problem with?
To me, it's pandering. It's pandering to a party that really wants to get rid of this group. So he's really watching his words closely, and he's basically playing politics.
Wait, what does he mean?
Well, when
though?
you say he's watching his words closely, what exactly?
Right. So
Matt, I'll have to jump in on that. Yeah. I don't think. Let me just jump in just real quick. I don't think he's watching his words carefully.
Yeah, I don't think.
I mean, he's accused of the exact opposite. Right?
No, but here's what I think. Here's what I think is happening, in my opinion. Right? I think that when you do, like, everybody here is talking. Everybody here is at a certain level of intellect. Right. I would say to you that's not the majority of America. A majority of America is not going to sit down with reason and do this. So what I would say, if there was an offense to what he said, right? And he did say some stuff when you say it to a country, like in particular, is a shithole country, right? Which is his words, his terms. When you say that, it's not for the Haitians that are intellectual that can be like, can filter through all that, right? It's for the others that is going to take that, like you said, to your point, the extremists. So when you're in position of power, right, you do have to watch what you say, because it's not about the intellect in understanding what you're saying. It's about the other ones that will take what you say.
So in other words, to sum it up, it was too provocative, right?
Right.
Yeah,
like
that's the
what?
point. Yeah.
Anytime you say something and you're in that position, right? The majority of there's going to be a large demographic that's going to misinterpret that, because according to people's level of comprehension, right? and so if there was something flagrant, I would point to that in terms of his ability to not be conscious enough to know that I have to choose my words carefully to not incite certain things to happen. I think that's what a lot of people got on him about and was arguing about, was like, yo, yeah, you're saying these things, but you're also firing off these guys, right? Because they're not smart enough.
That's a valid point.
That's the point.
Okay, go ahead, Pastor.
Because what I found with Trump is saying things a lot of politicians want to say, but they're afraid to say it. And my issue with him, because I like his policy, I like Trump, I prefer Trump in power than anybody else right now. But Trump's mouth is one of those guys on the street who just blah, 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 blah. So he let it loose, and you're right, it could be misinterpreted what he really means. So that's the only issue I had with him. But some of his things he's saying, though, is speaking the truth. He's just not coloring it the way we want him to color it.
And also, that particular statement, I don't see anything wrong. Saying that you assume that there are good people, there's nothing wrong with it. And not assuming the other side, because there are no police reports on good people.
Yeah, exactly.
There aren't.
Right.
So if you tell me that there's somebody, if there's like somebody that, like Laken Riley, that just got done, they have the name of that person. I forget the name of, but he was an undocumented immigrant, and she died because of that guy. So we can say at least that person was bad.
Right.
Can I say that every person that came across the border is bad? Absolutely not.
No.
I'm not there. I don't know.
That's why I made that
but
exception.
I can only say that I can say definitely that the people that have police reports are bad.
Right.
So, so that's, right. I guess that's.
But on that note, the FBI have released some of the people who crossed over.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were rapists, they were murderers, who was convicted.
They were. They were that. That's what they were.
Bad people.
And that's bad people.
Also,
right.
I believe correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the context of his statement was he was speaking to about this Mexican government. So I mean, come on, guys, you know how this stuff works with borders,
it's corrupt.
Now,
it's quite corrupt.
Like, like if I got a country and you got a country, and there's open borders in your country,
I'm sending you my worst.
And come on.
That's what you're going to do.
Like, I mean,
I'm not
I don't think
best.
anybody's disputing that they are doing that. I think the issue is the way he phrased it might be problematic. And I think that's a valid point.
I can agree that they're eating the dogs and eating the cats with a little bit.
But hold on.
That's another one.
But let's get to this. Let's finish this one.
But again,
let's
address it though, right?
It's true.
I'm not. I laugh at it.
No, I did
Because
hold on.
I can filter through it.
Space. Hold on with the dogs in the head.
Fine.
I just want to finish this, right? So I can concede that point personally because I'm trying to be fair, right? When I look at these people, everybody, you know what I mean? I'm like, I think I understand what he was saying there, and I personally didn't have a problem with it. But Space, you just made a great case for why it could be problematic, and I see why it could be problematic. Maybe the way he phrased it, but I think I understood what he was saying. I think I understood his intention behind it, and I don't think that's enough for me to, brand this man now a racist, which is what was, you know what I mean? Like, this was probably the number one thing that was used to call Trump a racist, was that, and the one that you mentioned with, the S-hole, countries and stuff like that. But it was this huge Mexican thing. And, you know, even on I forgot the name of that website, but I mean, this has been debunked like crazy. Like he never said that, you know, everyone coming across the border, these type, which it was so misinterpreted by the media, and that annoyed me. You know, any type of person that had been any type of a public figure in any way, you know what I mean, where you say you really want to be interpreted correctly. So I could understand the frustration. It's like, to me, it's very obvious what he meant, but it's like, if you're looking for a reason, you're gonna find it. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, just to kind of piggyback on that, because this is related. Did you hear that MSNBC lost 53% of their viewership after the election? 53%. That's more than half of their more than half of their. And I believe CNN went down by 36%. They're talking about layoffs at MSNBC.
Yeah, they suck. They suck. But on to the cats and the dogs.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Space.
Go ahead. Cats.
First of all, no dogs. First of all, no dogs, just cats.
When he's saying they're eating the cats, they're eating the dog. Like, again, I'm speaking to the people that can filter through this information, right? Which is a few of us,
Right. Yeah.
compared to, but the majority of them is not going to be able to filter through this information and be like, oh, he's just, you know.
And also, it's a claim.
You know,
we don't have any.
There are some things that I feel like he does is
but the thing is
very
this,
comedic to me.
But to your point,
do we?
you know, you have these quote unquote what they call MAGA nuts who are empowered by those statements.
Why you have to call people names? I don't get it, man.
They're interpreting
these, and that's what I'm
statements.
saying. It's while he could be saying something true, on the other flip side, because
it charges people,
it's going to charge certain people. So in anything of power, it comes with the responsibility of choosing how you talk.
Absolutely.
And you know what I mean? And that's just what it is. And I think that's the only thing that.
So who you think was charged with the cats and the dog statement? What did it charge the bad people to do?
What do you mean charge? Like,
well, that's what we're saying. We're I'm just trying to figure it out. I was just saying that was a wild statement. Who was enabled? Matt knows
to
do something heinous.
Because I know people personally who are Haitian who were questioned on their job.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
talking
point.
Somewhat.
Good point.
You know, well, you guys don't do that, do you?
No.
And
I think
so.
What that,
No.
I think what that does with the Haitian community, right, is the fact that we Haitians came from this thing of. Let me speak in particularly New York and East Coast, right? Haitian body odor. Everybody heard that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You heard that. Haitian brought AIDS to America. You heard that,
right?
So
I
never heard that.
Yeah. Well, if you ever heard that was a huge thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Haitians are the one that brought AIDS to America. There was a narrative that was years. I could go down the list of what Haitians did to this country and all that stuff, right? Yet we helped fight wars. We helped do a bunch of different things. We're the first one to get our independence, all of that stuff, right?
Right.
So when you make a blanket statement like that, right? Oh, we practice voodoo, right? And we do all this stuff. Like every country has voodoo, even America, right? But yet the Haitians are singled out is what that is,
right?
Right? And so when you say these statements, now it triggers those people. It doesn't trigger the ones that says, what the hell does he mean by that? This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, or he's inciting something else. Like the ones that can filter through it, if you can filter through something and you're a person of intellect, it doesn't faze you. It doesn't bother you as much. But there are others, and in terms of there are others who are looking for an excuse to say, yeah, you Haitians was doing this, and now have the ammunition to do it because that person gave them permission to do it.
That's one of the reasons why I like how Vance talks more than Trump.
Yeah, Vance is actually
right.
I like that.
He's got that part down.
Right. And it's just that, and that's my thing. I'm not like I'm glad Vance is doing that because if you have somebody that can speak better, let them speak.
Yeah, right? Of course, yeah.
So that you don't
like Vivek too. Like he's another great.
Is good. Yeah.
You know, so that's what I felt like was the potential issue.
Yeah,
I haven't heard
but that's the thing. Like, there is an ignorance to America, and it's like those. I understand what you're saying, but the thing is, it's like America tends to forget about the other Americas around them. Mm-hmm. So that's why. That's another thing. I think that's the reason why that whole comment about cats and dogs I found it a little disturbing on the part of America. Because it's like Haiti had a earthquake. When was that earthquake? 2010? Was it 2000?
A few, yeah, but
Yeah, there was one after. I mean, during the pandemic, but then the big one. So like, you have American forces going in there, all these people giving aid, people learning about Haitian culture, and then it's like this guy makes this statement, and all of a sudden you forget, or were you really learning? You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's just like, yeah, that speaks to the ignorance of America, and like that he spoke ignorantly, and that is a reflection of where certain people in America are. And so like, again, like that's why I said like, okay, this is your leader. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't speak haphazardly like that, you know?
Yeah, I don't think he's the most prolific speaker. I just
but I
you
also
can't speak to incite either. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think he knows.
No.
I don't even think he knows.
Inciting that.
Wait, Matt?
The thing is like I said, it's what is whom is being empowered by those
Yeah, you keep
words,
saying that. It's
by
weird.
that speech.
It's weird. Like, who was incited because he said that?
Well, you have
no. What he's saying is because Trump made those statements. People were coming up to actual Haitian people and being like, "Yo, you eat them cats?"
That was the thing.
And if that's a thing, and
Okay,
then
no,
also,
I
also hold on. Also remembering the what has happened to Haitian people while they were here, as
Right.
far as the way that people think about them already, it didn't help. So it'd be kind of like saying, you know, oh, American black people don't work. It's like, oh,
okay, so I do need to. Okay, so hold on.
If we bring it home, I want you to go right.
Right.
It's like somebody outside saying something about me, right? Who cares? But let Matt say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. It's like the president of the United States. Let him say it.
Yeah.
Now it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Somebody else come up to me and be like, "Yo, you Haitian?" But man, get the hell out of here. I'm like, you know, but that's what I'm saying. That's the effect of it. Depends on who's saying it.
Right. So
Yeah.
so there are people. There are Haitian people. I forget what city was it? Was it Ohio?
It was in
someplace
Ohio.
around-
Cleveland,
Right.
yeah,
It was
Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ohio. So there are Haitians that actually came here. They're here legally, and they're working. They're trying to make a living. And then when you drop that bomb, now you don't have just their town doing it. You have the surrounding towns saying, "Oh, they eating the cats. Let me bring Fluffy inside."
And that's what I'm saying. People are not at an intellectual level,
Right.
to just take it for what it is, and not have everybody be like, "You see, yeah, we're doing like it." Everybody follows, right? And that's the danger to that.
That's
the only danger to that.
I understand the danger to it, but I mean, it's like we have to still talk about the topic that, like, he didn't just wake up in the morning and say that. Something was happening,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
People's pets were actually missing in a particular community, and the last thing that happened was certain people moved into the community.
Well, okay, but
And also, Haitians, unfortunately, didn't make it any better, because Haitians went on public television, on interviews, and said that in their country there are stores where the people buy cats to eat, and it's a normal thing.
That's in other places too, though.
No, I know, but
People
they did not help their own case. So I'm like, if we want to point at Trump, we have to also point at the inside job that other Haitians were doing and stuff like
Let me throw
that.
this at you, right? Do
So-
you know personally?
I don't know anybody who
Okay,
eats
so then
them.
it's just a narrative.
It is.
So nobody
It is.
knows anything.
But I'm
Right.
saying,
Even at
but I'm
the
saying, if we're gonna, it's like the equal opportunity thing. It's like it's not just there's other Caribbean people who talk about Haitians and stuff. This has been before Trump said anything. There's always been something out there, misinformation, whatever.
What I'm saying is,
So-
it's like we got to be careful to not also
Yeah.
be the participant of what
Yeah.
we're proclaiming.
Yeah.
If we're saying that he, there's no proof, there's no this, that he's a great guy, you also got to take the position and say you don't know either.
yeah, you don't know.
You don't know if
Yeah.
it really happened or not. You're just assuming because they told you.
Right.
So if you don't have no personal thing, then we all in a space of like we don't know.
And even
so
when-
then if you don't know, how you making proclamations on one things you don't know?
Understood. But I'm saying we just have to, spread this stuff a
And
little
even
bit,
when-
Right,
because
but that's
other people help to.
I'm
perpetuate
pointing
it.
to exactly that. That is why media is so important.
Yeah.
because they can make you think like that.
No, for sure.
Even if you have no personal experience.
For sure.
So,
For sure.
Right. So like,
Because I've never seen any.
or evidence.
Yeah.
Right.
And
You know
even
what I
when
mean?
Trump said it, he wasn't sure. He was like, "We got to go down there and see." But when he made the claim, he wasn't sure that it was happening. He just heard.
But you'll never hear the whole thing. That's my problem.
Exactly.
You'll never hear the whole thing.
And that's what I'm pointing to.
So Matt, this is just for Matt. This is just for Matt. Matt, January 6th. The fallback was, Trump said there were good, fine people on both sides, right?
That was a tiki torch one.
Oh, that was a big one.
That was a tiki torch one.
Okay.
All right, there was all that stuff, and Obama went and was speaking, and he was like, this guy said there were fine people on both sides.
Yeah, how dare he say
How
that?
dare he say that?
Yeah.
But the whole clip is he said, and I'm not talking about the white nationalists, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis, and so. But you did not see that on the news. All you saw was Obama saying there were fine people on both sides.
I could appreciate that interview,
You know?
if we go back to it.
That's
because
crazy.
I could appreciate any time you're going to show the humanity of a person, right?
Yeah.
And because again, we are in this whole media game. All of us can sit up there and make a bunch of proclamations, but again, unless you have personal experience, media is doing a hell of a job at controlling your own narrative.
Right.
Yep.
Right? And the majority of people, again, don't have the intellect to do all this. It's easier to just make a claim and just...
I mean, they might have...
Tandy has something to... The one with no voice...
I'm just saying the majority of people.
Ask.
I'm not saying...
No, I'm wondering, out of everybody who did vote, I know we're talking about. Do you guys know what the policies?
She just asked. Okay, let me summarize it. So she just asked.
That's a great question.
For those who voted for either candidate, did you vote based on? Do you know their policies, and did you vote based on their policies? Is that right?
Yeah, for the most part, yes. I can.
So one of them said you should sleep with people to become powerful.
She didn't say
She
that.
didn't say.
I didn't say.
You said one of them said.
I did not say which one. I'm just saying.
Wow.
It's alleged.
So do you guys know policy? Like what,
That's the policy.
What was your policy?
Okay, so as far as Trump was concerned, I had 4 years of history to kind of dig from. So I know he was better on the economy. I know he was better on military readiness. I know he was better on a lot of things. And also...
How about the border?
The border as well, yeah. But also, two people...
What about world peace?
Well, I don't know. But
Okay.
two people...
What about world peace?
World peace.
There was there was no war.
Two people who I was going to vote for president joined his cabinet. Tulsi Gabbard, who I was going to vote for in 2020.
You just like her.
And well, RFK, I like him too, so it's cool. I don't like him like that though. I like Tulsi Gabbard differently.
That's my point.
Yeah, I like her differently. But those were two people that I was going to vote for president, and they joined Trump's cabinet, and then a lot of good people like Elon Musk and all those,
Man,
you know,
he has like the Avengers.
he has like the Avengers,
Crazy.
and then you get a look on Kamala's side. She
getting
has
more like Gotham's
she has Dick Cheney. I was like, she had Dick Cheney. And Dick Cheney shot somebody in the face. I'm like, Dick Cheney, that one. I was like, nah, bro. So yeah,
It was an accident.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was. Well, kind of. But yeah, I was Trump all the way based on his policy. I voted for him back in 2020, and did I vote for him? I didn't vote for him in 2016, but I voted for him in 2020. And
But just to tag onto that world peace comment, Ulrich, yeah, Trump I think is more respected by foreign dignitaries.
Absolutely.
I mean, leaps and bounds, orders of magnitudes above his competence.
Putin already said he's waiting for him to make a difference.
Literally, I don't think this is debatable.
No.
You know, who commands
Unless you're
more
blind.
respect in the world, you know, and with foreign dignitaries and this type of thing, and that's a huge issue.
When I look at the policies, and I make a decision based as a Christian, I look at both candidates. I hear what they're offering. Kamala had more abortions, and
That's what she was offering.
abortions.
Yep.
And I'm saying to myself, and of course the DEI and whatever it is, just gender identity and all this stuff.
Mhm.
And I said, she in power is not going to make my life easier as a Christian. Trump personality, question it, but as a Christian, his policies, strong on, like you said, strong on military, strong on foreign policy, the border, the economy,
Jobs.
and all this stuff. And also too,
Religious freedom.
as you said,
Food,
he may not be
gas,
a
groceries.
Christian, but the way Trump talks about God, I see him like one of those King Cyrus, who God said, that's my servant, and he will do whatever I want. And so I was more comfortable. I couldn't vote for Kamala. First of all, not because she was a black woman. What did she stand for? Laughing? There was nothing that she
Laughing
said.
and word salad.
Laughing, and the same policies that the 4-year policy with Biden is the same policy she had.
And
so why would they
worse.
put her back in there? I mean, need a change.
And actually, but I do want to broach one subject real quick, because the narrative was, especially for black men, because there's 12% of us that voted for Trump. 12%. It wasn't even a lot. They were saying that
Historically, it's a lot, though.
Historically, yes, it's big, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
I'm saying they're saying that we didn't vote for Kamala Harris because either we hate black women or we didn't want to see a woman in power. That was what your boy Barack Obama said.
Yeah.
He was a fool for that. He's no longer coming to the cookout. But
go ahead.
but I'll say it like this. I think the Democratic Party is putting the wool over people's eyes. They keep saying we want to see a woman in power, but they keep picking horrible freaking women, like horrible. So the first one was Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton lost to Trump, and I think it was by quite a bit. Kamala did worse. So I would say if they want to have a woman president so bad, just pick better women, because the first two that you picked were horrible.
I think Michelle would have did.
Michelle would have did a great job. I don't agree with Michelle at all, but she exudes a bit more power than those two. I don't know what Kamala was doing there. I don't think she. As a matter of fact, she did not even make the Iowa caucuses in 2020, and you made her vice president. There was other women that you could have used. There was Lance Bottoms in Atlanta. She was a little bit better. There was Stacey Abrams. You could have used her. She was horrible. I don't know what they were doing. I don't think they want a woman president. I think they're catfish.
Let me ask you this.
And she said Biden was racist when she was debating him.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Going
Amazing.
Politics, but yeah.
but that's
Amazing.
politics.
I was trying to jump in.
Hey!
Like a jump rope, double dutch.
Hey!
I want to throw this to Pastor John, right? So then going back to the original question, right? So now moving forward with all that we know and what we discussed, right? What should be the church's position moving forward, being that Trump is president now?
Trump was president before.
Right.
4 years, right? And he was good for the churches, because the first thing he did was call off the IRS who were going to all the churches. And of course, they were going to crack down on ministers who refused to perform marriage between same sexes. And he cut it off. So he back in power, I could see the church start breathing again, and hopefully we see some growth in the church again, because he's pro-church. I'm not saying he's a Christian, but his fear for God, and respect for the Christian church, I believe is good for us. Kamala would have been the opposite.
And I mean, and think of how bad that loss was. Like, she didn't just lose; she lost states that Democrats usually win.
Yeah.
Like, that blue wall had all of the swing states went for Trump. Every single one of them.
The Amish voted.
There was no
They
blue
came
wall.
out and voted.
Yes, thank you, Amish people.
That was because of Elon.
Thank you, Amish people.
You guys
you probably
know
won't see
about
this at
that?
all.
I saw that too.
Can I sneak this in
Yeah.
real quick?
Go ahead.
You guys, have you guys heard about that story?
No.
So, like, basically, Elon goes to Pennsylvania, and he does. You guys knew he did this huge campaign thing
Right.
for like a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks for Trump.
Right.
And I think the last 2 weeks he was giving away $1 million to a random person that signed his PAC. Right? He has a whole PAC for America PAC, whatever. Anyway, so that, that's an incentive obviously to get people to vote. He went to the Amish, like, in secret. None of this was televised. None of this was, like, he never talked about it on X or anything. And he met with them, and he spoke with them about their issues. And one of the biggest ones was, the Amish are farmers. And they all were complaining about, they were really, really upset with, the current administration, because they've been farming a certain way for a very, very long time, right? Hundreds of years or whatever. And there's all these regulations and stuff now, organic and not organic. You got to change this. And they're like, dude, like, this is what we do over here. Like, that's why we separate us. And basically what it did is it shut down a bunch of farms, and it really, really hurt the Amish community. So Elon said, there's something you can do about this. You can vote. And, Amish usually stay out. And he was like, look, we got a bunch of buses. We rounded them up. He said they can't drive the buses, but they're allowed to ride the buses. Elon sent a whole bunch of buses over, and he is the one who secretly rallied him and his constituents, the Amish community, to get them out to vote. I believe this was a huge power move. I think it was a possibly deciding factor, if not a major factor, in Pennsylvania. Yeah. That's just a little.
They got Mordecai on the bus.
There you go.
Mordecai got on the bus. So thank you, Amish people. You're not going to see this, but thank you.
You already know, guys. Let this not be 6 months apart.
There you go.
Yo, 11:59. We getting ready to tap out. Any final words, Pastor John? I'll throw it to you.
This is good to bring those issues to light. And hopefully, maybe I move back to New York. Who knows?
Oh, whoa.
Come back a minute. Come back to the blue state.
Hey.
Come back to the blue state.
That was from Matt.
No.
Wait a minute.
That was
from Florida?
No blue states, only blue city.
That was from Matt.
That's right. Come back to the blue state.
Matt, your blue folks came now to make us move. But it is good conversation.
This was good again.
Yep. With that being said, Uninvited Podcast, we are
Good night, everybody.
out.
Good night.
Good night.
Peace.